All right, good evening, everybody. Please join me in the pledge.
Flag of the United States of America.
I'd like to have a moment of silence for the following individuals. Joyce Olksack, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. Kirk Dunseith, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. Patricia Millis, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. Sharon Jackson, a former employee of the North Syracuse Central School District. Donald Evans, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District, and Dawn Brown, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School. Thank you.
Mr. President, if I could. I didn't know Dawn Brown that well, but I knew Ziri extremely well. Huge basketball fan. I've been following the team for years now, so I saw Ziri grow up before my own eyes. One distinctive memory I had of him, I can remember sitting behind the bench opening night. It was last year, the year before, I think it was last year, and this kid just sat on the bench, didn't get in the game, but he was so engaged throughout that whole thing, and his mom was sitting behind him, being so proud. And I saw that, and after the game, I called Kyle. I said, "Hey, this kid's Ziri. Tell me about him." And I told him what I saw, how energetic he was, how into the game he was, and how supportive of his teammates he was. And Kyle took that and agreed with me, and he made him the team captain the next day. Now Ziri didn't go out and score 30 points a game or grab 10 rebounds a game or do that, but they wouldn't have been in that sectional title game without him. And he learned so much from Don, and my heart breaks for him and his family and all those involved in the crash. And I'm so happy of our community. We stood behind him, and we raised over $51,000 as of today, for that family. It's not enough. He's going to need a lot more, but the fact that he has this whole community behind him just really warms my heart. And so it's such a great family, and I just want to make sure we highlight that as a community and what we as a community can do to get behind somebody in a time of need. Thank you.
Okay, we have a proclamation this evening. School administrators, the leaders of public schools, have had a positive impact on students, staff, parents, and members of the community at large. School administrators energize students and staff, respond to student needs, empower others, and recognize and celebrate achievement. School administrators, whether they work directly in a school building or at the district level, share the common goal of providing the foundation, environment, and professional learning community in which all students can learn and learn well. School administrators are entrusted with the well-being of our community's most precious members, the children. The administrators of the North Syracuse Central School District are professionals of the highest caliber. Students, parents, staff, and community members recognize, applaud, and appreciate their efforts to provide children with a 5-star quality education program. To honor the administrative staff of the North Syracuse Central School District and their accomplishments and efforts on behalf of our community's most valuable resource, the children, I'm Michael Maurizio, President of the North Syracuse Central School District Board of Education. On behalf of the Board of Education, express our deepest gratitude to our administrators and proclaim November 1st, 2024 as School Administrator Appreciation Day to be celebrated with the appropriate educational activities. So do I have a motion to declare November 1st, 2024 as Administrator Appreciation Day? Button, Mr. Crabtree, all those in favor? Yes. Do we have any administrators that are here? If you could, Matt, Don, Chris, Mike. give them a round of applause for all the work they do. Thank you all. We have two BPT presentations this evening. The first up is Cicero L, so I'd like to welcome Melissa O'Donnell up to the front and welcome for your first one.
Hi, Mr. Crabtree. I would like to invite my team up too
Of
as
course.
well. So before I begin, I just need to share my gratitude for my BPT team because they are not only dedicated educators, but they are very, very good at what they do. And as an administrator coming into this job brand new, it was amazing to have people that were behind me and in my corner throughout the entire thing. So thank you so much. And thank you to my support that also showed up in the back there. Thank you. So thank you. So welcome to Cicero. This is our new chipper. So just a little bit about us. As of today, we actually have 592 students that are currently enrolled in Cicero L. I am the very proud principal to welcome all of our staff, including the Lakeshore Elementary students as well and their staff. As you can see, we have 25% of our students who currently hold an IEP. We also have 27 amazing ELL students, and we have 3 in the queue to start with us as well. Okay, all right. So with the mission and our vision, we anchor this directly to the strategic plan that North Syracuse has here. Sorry, I'm nervous. So at Cicero L, we truly believe in the whole child. We put safety first. We make sure that our students are welcomed, that they're inclusive, that our classrooms are inclusive. And we do all that we can to remove the learning barriers for all students to make sure that they feel like they're welcomed in our building at all times. So one of the goals here that we have at Cicero L is to maintain the MTSS goal of having a PLC or the CTM. So the professional learning communities or the team meetings that our grade levels meet with weekly. And our goal ultimately is to meet to discuss common assessments in both ELA and math. But during this time, you can hear other things happening as well, such as things that are working, things that are not going so well. I love hearing things like that as well because they brainstorm together to talk about that. They do a lot of collaboration with data and they start having conversations on what's working and what's not working. And they do a lot of previewing assessments and they have those conversations prior to coming to me, even though I'm there for the meeting, but they love talking and they love being together. And it's something that I'm quite proud of. So something that we are using as a source of measurement is the assessment data, which leads us into our first goal of the graduation rate of which has a lot to do with the chronic absenteeism and attendance at Cicero L, because we know that we can't grow kids without them being in our school. And some of the things that, we do aside from the attendance flyer and, talking to parents, but I think that we do a lot of making connections with outside agencies and trying to bring them to us. So we have a really fabulous PTG who helps us a lot with getting more parents involved in our school. We also have Molly Murphy, our school counselor, and we have Cash, who is our big fluffy golden retriever, and he greets all of our students every morning. And he really has become a light in our students' day and a lot of our teachers as well. So a measurement that we use is a constant check-in with our crisis team. So Molly is a part of our crisis team, so is Cash. And we check in every Friday. So as you can see, our goal is to really reduce that absenteeism down to 8%. Obviously, I want it lower, but I'm a realist, but I'm also an optimist. So I think we can do it. That being said, I'm going to hand it over to Mrs. Purnell so she can talk a little bit about ELA and all the awesome things that she does in her fourth grade classroom.
Making sure I turn that on. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so our goal for our reading proficiency this year is to increase our percentage of students scoring in tier 1. And that's our assessment we use with Ames Web data from 56% to 65%. And we'd like to see our ELA scores. Those numbers are actually incorrect. Last year's score came in, they are at 42%. We want to increase them to 45% this year. Actually, I'd like to see it go higher than that. We are continuing to implement our CKLA program for our tier 1 instruction. We analyze the assessment data that we get from that CKLA program in our collaborative team meetings to determine any appropriate steps we need to take for tier 2 and tier 3 interventions. We utilize our instructional coach as we can for data discussions, as well as our SST team, our school support team, and our MTSS supports. And we do monitor our student progress and obviously make adjustments as needed. We do use our Ames Web data, our New York State ELA assessment, and the QPS, which I believe is a quick phonics screener as well. We have not used that yet, but I'm sure Melissa's got that in the queue for us somewhere. Here's our data, as you can see, from spring of 2021 through hopefully spring of 2025. We're looking to increase from 56% this year to 65% next year, and that's our Ames Web data. And then our ELA assessment, I would love to get back to that 54% we had in 2021, but we set a realistic goal this year for 2025 of being 45%.
So just to kind of touch on some of the things that Tina has mentioned, we are doing everything that we can to boost the 10%. And I would be remiss if I did not thank and highlight our instructional coaches here, because I have a link in this slideshow so that you can kind of take a peek at that. But our instructional coaches have done a deeper dive on what is lacking and where our deficits are and what we can do to really maximize our strengths and what we can do to get those students back to where we need them to be. So we review the Ames Web data. I attend hopefully all of the CTM meetings when I can, just to send the clear message that I'm here with you and we're doing this together. The QPS is a quick phonics screener, and we did implement that in some of our second grade classrooms as of right now. And it's a lot of the data that we're seeing is very positive, and we are having a lot of light bulb moments. So I'm very proud of that. Now, Mrs. Matthews.
Our math goals for this year, we're looking to increase our tier 1 math composite scores on the Ames Web from 68 to 74%. And then our proficiency levels for the New York State math assessment, we're looking to go from 57% to 60%. And we are continuing to implement the Into Math program with our tier 1 instruction. We look at math assessment data in our CTM meetings. And we talk about that, the benchmarks a couple of times a year, and then throughout the units, things that we're doing as well. We utilize the school support team and the MTSS supports. And as always, we monitor student progress, make adjustments as we need to. We do use the math benchmarks. We use Ames Web and New York State test data. Thank you. You can see our Ames Web pretty consistent for a while, and we're looking to get our scores on Ames Web up to 74% for this year. And our math assessment data continually grew from 2021 up to 2024. And again, we're looking this year to make that 60% or better.
Now I would like to introduce Mrs. Mincer, our academic interventionist.
Hi, everyone. All right, so regarding our students' emotional well-being, we take pride in improving our students' emotional well-being in the classroom, and hopefully it carries outside of the classroom. Our goal is to increase student self-management competency by 7%, so from 83% to 90%. Some strategies include we're going to provide monitoring data demonstrating in the biomass, implementing of school-wide SOAR celebrations with staff that we do weekly, and we have a big celebration once a month. Our crisis team meets once a week to discuss things that may change, what's improving and what needs to be changed. Our SOAR expectations are school-wide, so we teach it explicitly, we model it for good behavior. We utilize our mindfulness room that we have in the school new this year, which has been working great for most students who require a break. There's check-ins, check-outs. Also, Cash, our dog, has also made a huge difference for our students as well as adults, as Melissa said. During our collaborative team meetings, we also utilize Kid Talk protocol. So as a grade level, they're able to discuss students' needs and how they can come across as, using different interventions and what can be helpful for them. All right, so at Cicero L, we are on one big nest. So we have our eaglets, our new chipper up there. He's a cute one. So some good things that are happening at the nest. We use our chipper morning show. So each morning the kids are on there, like a little newscast. So the kids get to enjoy seeing their other friends on there. They focus on some different P2 strategies. That's the word. Thank you. And characteristics, they do spotlights of the classrooms. We do SOAR presentations. So kids look forward to that when they're soaring in the classroom. And everything like that. They do class of the week, so kids look forward to that as well. Melissa has now introduced Treat Your Teacher Friday that I love and look forward to, of my sweet treats. And our Cash check-ins, Cash makes his way around the school and surprises me when I need it most. So it's been awesome. So yeah, that's what's been happening in our big nest.
Thank you. I'm a big believer that our students will be happy if our teachers are happy. And I believe that as the leader of Cicero L, it's my responsibility to make sure that our staff are happy. And I truly think that by making them feel that, this is, their school, I want them to take pride in that. And I'm going to celebrate them the best that I know how, because they're amazing. So here are just some pictures of some amazing things that happen. Cash is actually getting surgery tomorrow, so he's unable to be with us today, but he was invited, but he's getting some tear duct surgery tomorrow, my bud. Are there any questions?
I have a question. Thank you for the great presentation. Couple comments on the data. I love the trend it's going. I think you guys are doing an amazing job, especially with the New York State math. That seems to be a strong suit in your building, and it keeps getting stronger. And I love that. Kind of an odd question. How was the new chipper designed?
That's a really great question. Our new chipper was designed by actually a CNS alumni. His name is Brandon Massey. He graduated in 2005. And Brandon gave me about 4 or 5 designs, and I brought it to Mrs. Perno. Tina and Dawn are my union, I call them my union peeps at my school because I go to them for everything. But I brought it to them and I said, I'm going to roll out a vote and, we're going to see. So Tina and myself narrowed it down to 2 chippers that he designed. And I had the school vote on which chipper they felt was best. And that little guy won.
That's awesome, because
Thank
my
you.
fear was, and I'm glad that I was proven wrong, was that was AI. And
Oh,
because
no.
I know we have so many great artists in this district.
Yeah.
And wouldn't even expect it was going to be one of our own,
Yeah.
but I just want to make sure we're not using AI for simple tasks like these that can be done with the beautiful minds of our students. So thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
This is a really good moment, because Tina and Don and myself did many projects together. When I was at Cicero, that's before the principal was born. And they were at another school and the year was 2004. And they represented, George Bush, and Mr. Crabtree represented Mr. Carey. And then 2 years later, we came to Cicero my last year as a teacher. And I don't know who you were, but I was Elliot Spitzer and Mr. Patterson. But thank you. Yeah, well, we know what happened there. But anyway, what a wonderful experience. And then Dawn, I wanted to tell you that I wore these sneakers especially for you.
Aw.
The LA Dodgers, because I know you're a Mets fan. But the question I have for, we got to liven it up a little bit. The question I have for the 2 of you, because you are veterans, how is this New York State test developed in both ELA and math? Do you feel, because I started with it when it first came out in the 80s, do you feel that it really covers the standards and so forth? How do you feel about the new test? Because I have not seen the new test. Yeah, I get a little fun stuff and then I let into.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks. Thanks for showing our age as well. We really love that.
Well, you're not retired.
Not yet, a few more years, 2029.
I would say it's.
In fact, I think the board would like to know because these tests have been going on for a long time. The scores are like this. So I like to know, if we feel that we have the standards in place for
I think
math
it
and
definitely
ELA
follows the
to
standards.
have our kids successful.
Yeah, I think the tests do definitely follow the standards. But every year is different. So you really don't know what you're gonna see.
Well, when the tests first started, they weren't geared to the average kid. If you remember right, they had 8th grade. It was more like an Iowa basic skills test where, they had 8th grade. So when the kids are reading, is it actual 4th grade reading level? And are the math skills actually 4th grade math skills?
Math, I would definitely say
Okay.
are.
I'd say for if I was going to answer honestly for ELA, I feel that they are at a higher level
Okay.
than we actually, although with CKLA, the content is much richer. So I'm hoping that we will continue
Right.
to
This
see
is
a
what, our
trend.
3rd
This
year?
is 3rd, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to see a trend upwards with that. I'd love to get back to those 2021 scores that we had, which were before CKLA, and get us to that, if not higher than that. I think that I can remember the first test, Bob. I'm going to date myself too. First one had cubism on it. I will never forget it, which was really over the students' heads. I think that it has evolved since then, and it has become a little more kid-friendly as to the topics that they pick and the things that they have them read and respond to. I'll be honest with you, I would love to see a comparison between computer-based versus paper. I'd love to see how they score differently between the two, because I think there is definitely a difference, most especially in math, for sure.
Thank you. Thank you for answering that question.
Thank you so much.
Next up, I'd like to welcome Smith Road and Lindsay. How are you, Lindsay? How are you?
All right, good evening, everybody. I am Lindsay Maloney, the building principal at Smith Road Elementary.
My name is Ariana Rosario. I'm an ENL teacher / administrative intern. So we wanted to start off by going over the demographics of Smith Road. We really haven't changed much from last year. Our numbers have stayed the same. Something that makes Smith Road really unique is that we have special programs that not every elementary school has in North Syracuse. We have 3 15-to-1 programs as well as the ENL program. And we try to align our mission and vision statement with that of the district. And something that's really important to us is because we have so many diverse students at our schools that every student can learn and every student can succeed. And we really tried to do that by offering the amount of inclusion opportunities for all of our students.
So our first goal is our MTSS goal, which is collaborative team meetings. So we are really focusing, as we did last year, on implementing our collaborative team meetings centered around the 4 PLC questions. Our hope is that it results in some targeted intervention on our tier 1 instruction. One of the things this year, you can see the strategies listed there, but one of the things that we're really focusing on this year is utilizing our instructional coach to help us have conversations around the end of unit assessments. So those are common assessments given at the same time. We're focusing on making sure they're given the same exact way, and then how we're going to look at that data afterwards and what we're going to do with it. The other piece that we're going to focus on this year is to take a look at our units within CKLA and determine what are those learning targets within those units and what are some formative assessments or checkpoints that we can identify as a team to look at within the unit so that we're providing intervention in real time. Because we know with the end of unit assessments, it's kind of like an autopsy of that unit afterwards. So we really want to focus on what can we do within the tier 1 instruction and how can we intervene so that we can start to close those gaps. So that's our first big focus with MTSS. The other thing that's not up here is our school support team. Every year we've been working on tightening up our school support team procedures so that we're providing support for everyone in the building. And it is called school support for a reason, because it's support for our teachers, it's support for our students. So we are really trying to get the message out there to teachers that whenever they're feeling like they need support in any way, academic, behavior, to refer that student to our school support team so that we can sit down collaboratively as a team and kind of figure out what are some interventions and strategies we can put into place. So that's another thing that we're continuing to tighten up each year. Our second goal is around graduation rate, which same as Cicero, we're focusing on our chronic absenteeism. As you can see, we've been doing a pretty good job each year of decreasing our chronic absenteeism. So this year, our focus, we're trying to get down to 14%. We are using our school tool at-risk view. That's the report that we are pulling, and I am pulling that bi-weekly and then bringing those to our STAR committee, which is our Students at Risk Committee. And we are focusing in on individual students that are falling in that chronic absenteeism range, and different things are happening. Either we're reaching out to teachers and having the teachers contact the families, or if it's a tier 2, tier 3 level where we've done that, the teacher has had those conversations, then we're pushing it up to the social worker, and including myself included. I make phone calls, text messages. We continue to send out letters to families, and our message is not around the negative. It's really around how can we support you and what are some things we can do to help you to ensure that your child is attending school.
So our next goal is our reading proficiency goal. We've stayed kind of the same over the last 3 years, but we're going to try to improve to 44% and 33%. So we're going to do this by looking at our Ames web goal and really talking about this at our collaborative team times. And like Lindsay mentioned before, we're going to focus on our win time or what I need now. So we're making sure that students are getting that actionable step in real time. So we're not waiting until it's too late to intervene on that. And we're utilizing our school support team as well as following up 6 or however long that intervention is going to be after to make sure, is it working? Is it not working? Do we need to change what we're doing for those students? And our math has gone up a little bit more, which is exciting. So where goal is 54% and 42%. And the same thing, we are focusing on that collaborative team time, having those deeper conversations, using that win time, our school support team. And something that's exciting that's happening with our AIS teachers is in 2nd and 3rd grade, they are piloting the Bridges Math Intervention Program. And that program is a little bit different than the other programs because it's so hands-on. So kids actually get to make a tool and then they're using that tool and learning the number set. So while it's been going really well, and especially with our Ls who might not necessarily have that language yet, but they're able to see and feel and be able to do.
And then our last goal is around this emotional competency. And we are, as we did last year, focusing on self-awareness. We right now don't have this year's data because teachers right now are in that screening window. So teachers right now are completing that BIMAS screener for all of their students. But one of the areas that came up as a concern for us last year was self-awareness, which it's interesting. I had a conversation with Lisa Goldberg last year. We kind of looked at district-wide data. Self-awareness really seems to be consistent across the district. So we are really focusing on some different strategies to try to focus explicit teaching on self-awareness. Last year in the spring, we started to really utilize our morning shark show we would put scenarios up. So I would read a scenario on the shark show, and then I would ask the teachers after the shark show was over to talk about those scenarios and have the students share how might they feel or what might they do. So we're going to continue to do that and use our building-wide assemblies to focus on those things. We do have a handful of teachers utilizing the second step curriculum. Not everyone is, but we do have a handful using that curriculum. And if they're not using that curriculum, they are really using that morning meeting time to focus on these kinds of conversations, identifying feelings, how to respond to those feelings when they feel that way. The other thing we talk about too as staff is the modeling. I think that's the biggest thing. So we talk about how we can model as teachers, how we handle, there's frustrating times for us as teachers up in front of the classroom where we're feeling upset or tired and so how do we handle those and what are our students seeing us do and how we handle. So modeling is another thing that we're doing to focus on this.
Some things to celebrate. We had 3 E&L students test out of the E&L program and they were able to go back to their home school this year, which is the first time since the program has moved to Smith that we've been able to do that. And we expect that to happen next year. So we're very excited about that. So even though our numbers are growing slowly, they are what we're doing is working and for all students.
And another few celebrations, we really try to have fun while we're learning. So the CKLA celebrations that we've got princess balls happening. We had Chalk the Walk this fall. One of the other things to celebrate, I was talking with the kindergarten teachers, is that kindergarten camp that we held in August. We at Smith Road really utilized that time as much as we could. We held 4 days of kindergarten camp for 3-hour timeframes. And at first, I would say the kindergarten teachers were like, oh my gosh, what were we thinking? Because it's in August and that's still their time. So they were like, what were we thinking? But I just had a conversation with them recently and they said that they noticed the difference and the impact that had. We were able to focus on some behaviors within just those 4 days And it's at a much smaller magnitude. So, you know, these teachers didn't have full classes of 18 to 20 kindergartners. They had about 10. And so it was easier for them to manage and work through those things. And also from my standpoint and the support that we had there. So I solely was just dedicated to working with those kindergartners that were there. I was able to I had parent meetings within those 4 days. And the teachers really felt that it did have an impact on the start of the school year with our kindergartners. So that was something I wanted to make note of. And then I just want to thank our BPT members, just like Cicero L. These members work very hard and they do a really great job we utilize BPT as kind of our building-wide PLC, and then they are bringing that back to their teams and ensuring that this work is continuing throughout all the teams. Any questions?
Just a comment first, if you don't have to go back to it, but when you go look at the free and reduced lunches at Smith Road, we always feel that Smith Road, oh, they're not high in that because they're not, socioeconomic. They have one of the largest in our district. So thank goodness we have free lunches now and free breakfasts, but it's like we talk about other schools in our district, they're low socioeconomic, but I know some of the families that come to your school from the village, and it's poverty. It's poverty that's coming to your school. My other thing was a question is, Lindsay, you used to do this and it was amazing. You would have an assembly in the gymnasium, and I went a couple times. Do you still have those?
Yes, we just had our first one and it was probably, from the staff's point of view, they're telling me it was probably one of the best assemblies we had. It focused on our star character traits. But one of the things we started to implement was building-wide behavior expectations at an assembly. And it was a long assembly, but the students, I mean, you have almost 600 kids in one setting with the staff. It was one of the best assemblies I've ever seen. So yes, we are still continuing those.
You are the largest enrollment elementary school. And I'm glad you have an administrative intern. She looks familiar. Did you go through our school district?
I did not, no.
You did not. You look very familiar. But anyway, I know Dan started that when he was here, making sure that the largest enrollment school. Thank you for everything you do at Smith Road.
I just wanted to say a couple quick things. One, I think it's awesome that you had a couple of students test out of the ELL program. That's a great testament to you all. I also wanted to thank the administration and everybody for the kindergarten camp. Of course, as you know, I know some of the kindergarten teachers, and I have heard the same things that you have. And I think that it's a really great opportunity for teachers to start to get their feet wet with the kids, and it makes it an easier adjustment. So I hope that that's something we continue as a district.
Thank you.
A quick question.
Yeah.
Going back to the ELA scores, you see some stagnation over the past few years. Do you know of any maybe unique hurdles or obstacles that your school is facing that's different than other schools that you see the stagnation, or do you think it's kind of the same across the district?
I mean, I think it's kind of the same throughout the district. We do have a higher number of students qualifying for AIS intervention services, which is why we do have, I think, the largest staffing. Like we have 5 AIS teachers. I do think it's kind of the same. One of the things though that I firmly believe, and I think we're on our way, is I think we were lacking a tier 1 curriculum. And now that we have that, and it does take a few years to start to see that. But now that we have a tier 1 curriculum, we are still learning it, but each year we're able to really target, and now we're starting to be able to look at that data so the conversations already at our collaborative team times have been, we hit the ground running the second week of school, and we've been having really great conversations around the curriculum and the intervention. And like I said, with the school support team, I'm hopeful that we can kind of intervene a little more.
Very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we have no comments from the audience this evening, but as always, we welcome anyone who would like to come and talk before the board. Moving on to Board of Education Committee reports. Mr. Thorne?
Thank you. We have our inaugural policy committee meeting tomorrow at 5 here at the district office. Look forward to seeing everyone who's going to be there.
Crabtree, anything on?
Legislative committee meeting will be the day after election, November 6th. But I would remind everybody at home and in the audience that still can register to vote up to October 26th. You can do early voting as I have. I've already voted, but I won't tell Josh how I voted. Or you can do absentee voting, or early voting will begin, I believe, this weekend. So I'm hoping everybody gets out there. Many important to this district and the legislative committee that we have people that are elected that support education. Thank you.
Do you want to move into your OCM report?
I don't have anything to say other than that what's in my report. It was an excellent meeting. We met in Cortland this month because we have a lot of schools down there. But other than my report, if you have any questions, you can always contact me.
Thank you, Bob. Mr. Shido?
Yeah, so first thing I'd like to thank our administrative team and recognize them. You know, we have a very hardworking group of administrators that's engaged. They're caring, they're passionate about their jobs, and they really want to do what's best for our students and our staff. So I'd like to thank them. They've really helped make my job a lot easier and smoother, how they work with me collaboratively. So thank you. And then today is actually NYSET Retiree Recognition Day. So New York State United Teachers recognizing retirees across the state, which there's 260,000 retirees now across New York State. So I wanted to recognize that. I also wanted to recognize Griffin's guardians. So I have a little. So Kevin Toms, he's a senior at the school, and he's been carrying on the name from Griffin Engel, who passed away from cancer when he was a student at Cicero Elementary School. And I just think it's really special what he's been doing for a number of years now. And he's been holding local bottle and can drive to raise money. And his efforts have already yielded almost $20,000, and he hopes to reach the $25,000 mark this year. So it's a Can Crush Cancer Drive, and it actually will take place next weekend, which is October 26th and 27th at Griffin's Guardian's office in Cicero. So just wanted to recognize them right near Walmart. Okay, very good. And then I mentioned last time that that myself and Don Keegan and then Matt Conti didn't attend, but he will be on tomorrow. We're going to be talking about the Onondaga County School Bus Safety Initiative, which is going to be sponsored and run through Onondaga County, Ryan McMahon's office. And what it is putting cameras on school bus arms, and it's to try to protect our students and other pedestrians around school buses. And it's actually gonna, they're looking for people who run red flashing lights on school buses and pass school buses when they should not. And this initiative has been run in 5 other counties right now across New York State, and they've raised over $1 million in each county with this initiative. And it really does increase awareness, and it should help with the safety of students. And this company, Vera Mobility, actually they'll actually provide the cameras for every school bus in our district. And there's three other districts involved, Liverpool, Baldwinsville, and East Syracuse, Manoa. And they monitor actually the cameras and everything. They'll get an alert. We'll work closely with them, but they're able to get the video. Then it goes to the Onondaga County Executive Office. They'll review it. They have to have a police officer review it to determine that someone was breaking the law. And then Vera Mobility sends out the fines. And so it's no cost to the district whatsoever. And I just think it's a great initiative and it's something they want to run throughout the county. So tomorrow, we actually will be in a Zoom meeting with Vera Mobility. And hopefully it'll be something they'll start up in December where they'll start actually installing the cameras on our school buses.
Can I ask a question on that?
Yes.
Do we have any data to show how often this happens in our district, or do we keep a log of when these instances happen?
But I think it happens a lot more than people
That's what
realize.
it's gonna do, yeah.
But we will, we
gonna-
will have data going forward.
Another quick question. Is it only capturing video on the right side of the bus? Where the
No, I
arm
think it can,
extends?
I think the lens is wide enough that they put it, it's on near the end of the arm and it's supposed to capture from either side.
Okay.
So,
And is
but
it,
it's a great question, yeah.
are most of our bus routes designed so that kids are picked up on the door side? Okay, that's good.
Yeah, which is a big safety factor too. And yeah, no, it's good, right? They can see, and I think it catches them going by, like, it'll catch them coming one way, but you can see them going through the other way, and they know the lights were on, and that they had to come across the other side of the bus. So, but those are some questions we're gonna be asking them tomorrow also. Just other notes of interest, on October 28th, it's Special Education Parent Engagement Night. That will be held here. October 31st, half day for students, and of course, that's Halloween. And then I mentioned Administrator Appreciation Day, and then our next Board of Education meeting is on November 4th. Yes. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other board comments?
I just really quickly wanted to thank the Office of the County Executive for working on that. I think that's a great initiative, and thank you and Don and everybody else that's involved. That's really important, and I appreciate that the county is willing to be involved and do that.
Quick one. This is our last board meeting before Halloween, so I just want to make sure that we all have a happy, safe Halloween. Make sure kids are supervised and safe and not reckless whatsoever. And so I want to make that announcement. So.
This coming Sunday at the Dome, there'll be over 60 marching bands, and our CNS marching band, winners of the state championship for 2 years, 8:47. They're on at 8:47 Sunday night. And also, sports followers, this week we have both boys and girls soccer in the sectionals, and also the girls field hockey team. So we wish them the best.
Great. Azariah.
All right, hello. So on the agenda I had here, I wanted to also observe the Can Crush Cancer event, and I wanted to also let everyone know that you can also donate virtually online at www.griffonsguardians.org in case, like, you don't have access to like go drive there or anything. And any donations you make, you're automatically entered into a $250 gift card raffle. And I was also going to observe that this Thursday at the North Syracuse Early Education Program cafeteria, we have the Coffee Connections, which is dedicated to, it's very similar to like a parent engagement event where if you have a younger child, you are encouraged to go to learn more about digital well-being and kind of teaching kids about teaching parents about how to limit screen time and, just to be more responsible online. And that's going to be on South Main Street in North Syracuse. And if you want more information for this event, you can go directly to our district website. And also, the next day on Friday, there's a Halloween book giveaway at the same place at the North Syracuse Early Education Program building, and that's at 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And if you're interested in acquiring some books for some young people in your family, it would definitely be a great opportunity to gain access to some books. And next, once again at CNS High School, we're having a club fair on Friday on the same day. It's during all lunches in the multi-purpose room. So if you have a kid who is interested in getting involved with any of our great clubs at CNS, it's definitely a great opportunity to do so. And this Saturday, I wanted to say good luck to all the juniors who are going to be taking their PSATs. And it's a, a great opportunity to get some scholarships, a great opportunity to see where you're at when it comes to standardized testing. I know a lot of schools are test optional now, but it's still a good opportunity to just, see some academic skills that you have. And I wanted to say good luck to CNS High School girls cheerleaders. This Friday is the Skier Fest competition at the junior high school from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. If you want to show up anytime to support our cheerleaders. And yeah, I just wanted to also say it's a half day on Halloween. Stay safe. And that was everything I had for today.
Thank you very much. We'll move into some routine action items. Consideration of approval of the minutes from the regular board meeting on October 7th. Do I have a motion for that? Xavier and Mark, all those in favor? Unanimous. I'd like to put B, C, and D together, the consideration of classification and placement of students. Do I have a motion to accept those as submitted? Mandy, Mark, all those in favor? Unanimous. And the declaration of marketable and unmarketable surplus. Do we have a motion to accept those as submitted? Josh? Question? May have just been a template that they're using, so.
One of them was a list of books too. It said, see attached list. I didn't see an attached list. But
All those in favor? It's unanimous, thanks. Discussion action items, the acknowledgement of appointment of an impartial hearing officer pursuant to Part 200 of the regulations of the Commissioner of Education. We had to appoint a hearing officer on October 7th, so do I have a motion just to acknowledge that appointment? Xavier, Mark, any questions? All those in favor? Unanimous. One is the consideration of contract award per TIPS Cooperative Purchasing Contract number 240104-02 for the concrete package for the pool addition. We're tabling this one, yes. Do I need a motion to do that, or can we just? Okay, great. Table, okay, table, okay. Resolution to discontinue voter registration on the night of the public hearing. Don, do you have anything that you want to just about that? No,
Jill and the crew have done a great job of doing voter registration on the night of the public hearing, and we just haven't had many people come out for it. And so we just determined that it didn't make a lot of sense. And in asking around, we found out that a lot of schools have taken up a similar resolution and are not doing that registration because our voters or potential voters have a lot of opportunities to come in and vote or contact Jill or during business hours. And so it just seems like it's not needed.
I just want to make sure that people know we're not taking away somebody's opportunity to register to vote.
And to be clear, it was, you said not a lot of people, it's 0, right?
It's been,
Okay.
I just want, for people out there to know we are not eliminating an opportunity to, yeah, of
We very much encourage all of you to register to vote.
course. Right.
If you want to vote in
Okay.
this election, you have until October 26th to register. I will echo what Bob said earlier.
So do I have a motion to approve that resolution? Mr. Ludden and Matt, all those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. And a resolution to create a 1.0 speech therapist position to be split between Smith Road, Cicero L, and St. Any questions? Favor? That's resolution to create 5 FTE, 5 1.0 FTE teaching assistant positions at Roxborough Road Elementary, Smith Road Elementary, Allen Road Elementary, and Gillette Road Middle School. Do I have a motion to put that up? Josh and Mark, any questions?
I had a question. The 2 Roxborough Road teaching assistants, is one of those to replace the one that is on personnel leave that has resigned? I saw a resignation of a teaching assistant from. Okay. Okay.
All those in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you. Resolution to create a 1.0 FTE family engagement specialist at Roxborough Road Elementary. Do I have a motion to place that before? Mark and Mandy, any questions?
Question is, didn't we have one, or, so we're gonna have 2? It says creation of, but we had one. There's not a person there now?
All those in favor? Next, we need to approve the extension of a prior consulting agreement with D Imperial Law PLLC. Do I have a motion to place that agreement before us?
I just want to make sure I understood this correctly. Everything was retroactive, right? Okay.
All those in favor? That's next, we have the acknowledgement of gifts from the various NSCF grants. Do I have a motion to accept all of those grants as they've been? Mark, any questions, comments? All those in favor? Thank you. Approved grant of easement to provide updated electric service to Lakeshore Road Elementary School. This has to do with the renovations, correct? Yeah. Do I have a motion for that, Josh? Or any questions? All those in favor? Speaker resolution for the capital project, CNS Greenhouse renovation project. So I just need a motion to approve that seeker resolution. Questions?
Quick question. Could you just explain this a little more? I just wasn't really understanding it fully when I was reading it.
Sure. As you know, last year we started to renovate the greenhouse at the high school. And so it's being done over a 2-year period with, you know how we have project funds, cash outlay projects that we do each year, and they're limited to $100,000. And so this project's more than that. So we've divided that project into 2 pieces. But from an environmental perspective, there's really no environmental impact. And that's kind of what the board is saying. You're saying, hey, based on advice of our architects, there's no environmental impact. So this is type 2 action. And so we're just doing that seeker again this year. It's a little redundant because we already did the seeker in 2023. But with the capital outlay projects, there's a technicality that says maybe you should be doing these every year. And
So this doesn't delay anything that's been going on?
No, no, gosh,
Okay.
no, the work's all proceeding. Yeah, yeah.
The funds we've traditionally used for security enhancements at the entrance. Project funds that we used for the security enhancements in the past. It's those, yeah, yeah. All those in favor? Unanimous? And I need a motion to approve a memorandum of agreement between the North Syracuse Central School District and the North Syracuse Education Association. Here, Josh, any questions?
No, I have any questions. I think this is a great resolution. The teacher is amazing. And we have problems finding teachers. Not having a Spanish teacher, I can tell you, you're not as bad off as BOCES. You ought to see the number of openings that we have and don't have classroom teachers, do not have teaching assistants. So God bless this teacher and thank you to the NSCA for this agreement with the district because we're going to see more and more of this, people. People are not going into teaching, they're not going into education. So this person's special anyway, so.
Next, Personnel Report A. Do I have a motion to accept that as submitted? Josh, Xavier, any questions? All in favor? That is unanimous. Support Staff B, do I have a motion to accept that as submitted? Questions? All those in favor? That is unanimous. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to move into executive session for the purpose of reviewing one negotiation matter with no action to follow and two personnel matters with no action to follow, as well as accepting legal advice on a contract with construction. Yeah, with action to follow. Back in open session. So do I have a second on that? All those in favor? Unanimous. And do I have a motion? Well, I can't adjourn yet because we're coming. We are in executive session. Thank you.